After letting my girlfriend move into my apartment to save money, I discovered she had been charging rent to a fake roommate, pocketing the cash while cheating with him. When I confronted her, she said, "You're too dumb to deserve this place anyway." I smiled, handed her a fake eviction notice, and watched her cry when the real one arrived a week later, after I sold the building she thought she controlled. I'm 38 years old. Name's Sean. I've been living in St. Paul, Minnesota my whole life. Worked HVAC since I was 19. Never made a fortune, but I kept my head down and did the right things. Paid my bills, stayed out of trouble. After my divorce at 32, I made a choice. I wasn't going to live with debt anymore. I went hard on side jobs, saved every dollar I could. And eventually, after a buddy tipped me off, I bought a beat-up triplex near Hamline University. It wasn't much to look at, but it had strong bones. Brick structure, old hardwood, decent location. The upstairs and basement units needed work, but I fixed them up myself. Spent nights sanding floors, patching drywall, changing out busted plumbing. Took me about a year to get it how I wanted. I rented both units out, kept the main floor for myself. It felt like mine in a way nothing else ever had. Clean, quiet, reliable. Then came Amanda. We met at a backyard cookout in Roseville. She was there with a mutual friend. I remember she had this way of looking at you like you were the only person that existed. I hadn't dated much since the divorce, so maybe I was vulnerable. But she made me laugh. And she didn't flinch when I told her about my blue-collar work or how I liked living a simple life. She was 31. Worked as a waitress and sometimes barback at a popular brewpub near downtown. Lived in a crummy studio she always complained about. We started slow, coffee, a few dinners. Then it turned into her staying the night more often. 6 months later, she was practically living at my place. That's when she brought it up. "Babe," she said one night while we were watching reruns and sharing takeout, "I'm just burning money staying at that dump. I could move in, help with groceries, maybe do some cleaning or errands around the place. It'll help me save. I could finally start building something." I told her she didn't need to pay rent. I'd already been covering everything myself. All I asked was for her to pitch in when one of the tenants needed something. That and to help me vet the new renter for the upstairs unit. The previous tenant had moved to Duluth, and I was ready to get someone new in by March. She smiled like I was some kind of hero. "Seriously? You'd do that for me?" I nodded. "Just be honest with me. Always. That's all I care about." She kissed me. Told me I was one of the good ones. She found a tenant by the end of that week. "Lyle," she said. "Old friend from the bar. Lost his roommate. Just needs a quiet place while he works nights. Keeps to himself. He's got cash, and he's respectful." I didn't think much of it. I told her to collect first and last month's rent and to let me know if he needed anything. That was the start of it. I never met Lyle. Never saw him. Every time I tried to catch him, Amanda had an excuse. "He's working, he's sleeping, he's out of town." But the rent always showed up in a neat envelope on the kitchen table by the first. $1,200 in cash. $1,200 a month. That should have been a red flag. I figured Amanda had handled the rent price. I was charging $850 to the last tenant. But again, I didn't press. I trusted her. The weirdness started stacking up. I'd hear noises at odd hours. Once I thought I heard Amanda's voice upstairs. Another time I came home early and her car was in the driveway. But she wasn't in the apartment. I asked her about it, and she just shrugged it off. "I brought Lyle a package," she said. "Didn't want it stolen." Then came the mistake. She left her email open on my laptop one morning. She'd borrowed it the night before to print something. I wasn't even trying to snoop, I opened it to check my schedule, and the inbox popped right up. There it was. An email thread with someone named Lucas. Subject, rent received, babe face blowing a kiss, thanks for the $1,200. You're the best fake roommate ever. Love you. I sat there in shock. My stomach sank. My hands were shaking. I clicked through more emails. Then texts. Dozens of them. Photos. Jokes about me. One said, "He thinks you're just helping out. LOL. I should charge him rent too." They had been together for months. Lucas, not Lyle, was living in the upstairs unit. He was no tenant. No lease. Just Amanda's boyfriend. The sickest part? She had moved her side guy into my building, charged him rent she pocketed, and kept living rent-free in my apartment. Laughing at me behind my back. Using my kindness as a cover. I didn't rage. Not at first. I just sat there for hours. Tank, my old lab, came over and laid his head on my lap. I didn't even realize I was crying. That night, I started planning. I knew confronting her right then wouldn't fix anything. She'd lie. Cry. Maybe try to spin it all. So I smiled through the next few days like nothing was wrong. Went to work. Came home. Ate dinner with her. Pretended I didn't know. In the background, I called a realtor friend. Told him I was thinking of selling. He said the market was hot, especially for small rental properties like mine. Investors loved them. I told him to keep it quiet. Within a week, I had 2 offers. One was from a guy who ran a short-term rental company. Said he'd pay in cash and close fast. I took it. Meanwhile, I made copies of every message. Every email. I even waited for Lucas to leave one afternoon and, accidentally, went upstairs under the excuse of needing to check a leak. Found his ID on the counter. Took a photo of it. That sealed it. Then came the confrontation. Friday night. Cold outside. Amanda was just getting home. Said she had a long shift at the bar. I asked, "How's Lucas?" She froze. Then tried to fake a laugh. "Who?" I showed her the printed emails. She got defensive. Then nasty. Said I was pathetic for snooping. That I was just a free ride and too dumb to deserve a place like this. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't curse. I just handed her an envelope. She opened it and her face fell. It was a fake eviction notice. Looked real, but it was something I made on my computer. I wanted her to feel what was coming. Wanted her to sweat. She broke. Cried. Screamed. Threw things. Said I ruined everything. I told her, this is just the start. A week later, the real eviction came. From the new owners. They were turning the place into month-to-month Airbnbs. Both Amanda and Lucas had 30 days to get out. I had already moved out. Found a new spot just outside the city with a fenced yard for Tank. I never answered Amanda's calls. Never replied to her texts. She begged. Pleaded. Said she didn't know what she was doing. That she loved me. But when someone shows you what you mean to them, believe it. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I'd burned the bridge, walked away, and that was that. But Amanda wasn't done. 3 weeks after the eviction notice landed, I got a call from my old tenant in the basement unit, Carmen, a single mom with 2 kids who'd always paid rent early and never caused any problems. She's still here, Carmen whispered. Amanda's still in the building. What? I said. She's supposed to be out. The new owner's already taking over. She's upstairs, Carmen said. Lucas is gone. But she's up there. Playing loud music. Looks like she moved some of your stuff back in. I had a key to the unit. I didn't give it to the new owner yet. I drove straight there. When I walked into the building, the air felt wrong. Amanda had lit incense. My old recliner, the one I left for donation, was back in the living room. Her clothes were in the closet. There were wine bottles on the counter. She looked at me like I was the intruder. I don't have anywhere else to go, she said. Not my problem, I told her. You burned that bridge. But she didn't cry this time. She smiled. Cold. Like she was about to flip the game on me. I talked to a lawyer, she said. You evicted me without a formal lease. And Lucas? He paid cash. No record. You can't prove anything. My heart sank. I hadn't expected her to try this. I figured she'd leave quietly, tail between her legs. But now she was talking like she could stay. I don't own the building anymore, I said. You'll have to deal with the new landlord. She leaned in. I told him you harassed me, she said, voice low. That you kicked me out because I refused to sleep with you. I told him you faked the first eviction notice to scare me. He's thinking about backing out of the sale. I saw red. But I didn't yell. I walked out. That night, I called my realtor. Told him everything. He was furious, said Amanda had called the buyer directly and tried to derail the deal. The buyer got cold feet. Started asking questions. My clean sale was on the line. I had to fix it. I called in a friend, Ernie, a guy I knew from HVAC days who now worked in private investigations. I told him what was happening. I gave him Amanda's full name. He got to work. 3 days later, he handed me a file. Amanda had pulled this stunt before. 2 years earlier in Rochester, she'd moved in with a guy who owned a duplex. Stayed rent-free, got her friend to move into the other unit, charged rent, and when she got caught, filed a fake harassment complaint to buy herself time. She was a scammer. She'd been doing this in different cities. Always with guys who owned small properties. Always left before things hit court. This time, I wasn't letting her walk. I called the buyer again. Sent him the file. The proof. The pattern. And Ernie agreed to talk to him directly if needed. That tipped the scales. The buyer was back in. Closed the deal 2 days later. Amanda was served a formal notice to vacate, with legal action pending for squatting and fraudulent interference. She left the next morning. No goodbye. No apology. Just a dent in the wall where she threw something before she left. But that wasn't the last I heard of her. A month later, I got a message from an unknown number. Hope you're proud. I'm homeless. I lost everything. Then, you ruined my life. I stared at the screen for a long time. I thought about replying. But I didn't. Because she hadn't just scammed me. She used me. Stole from me. Lied to my face while sleeping in my bed. And then tried to destroy my name when I caught her. What she lost wasn't my fault. She lit the match. I just handed her the lighter. I didn't answer her message. Blocked the number. I figured she'd crawl away and find someone else to latch onto. I wanted it to be over. But Amanda wasn't the kind of person to just vanish. 3 weeks after I blocked her, I got served. A knock on the door. Plain manila envelope. Inside, court documents. Amanda had filed a small claim suit. Alleged unlawful eviction, emotional distress, and that I stole personal property during the move. She was asking for $5,000. I laughed when I first read it. I thought it was another one of her games. But the court date was real. She wasn't going away. She wanted one more bite. Maybe she thought I'd offer her money just to make her disappear. I went straight back to Ernie. He told me not to worry, he still had the full file. We added the new messages she sent, including the one admitting she was homeless and blaming me for ruining her life. It showed intent. Revenge. Not real harm. Still, I wasn't sleeping right. I'd wake up in the middle of the night expecting to see her car parked outside my new place. Tank would bark at shadows. I didn't even know if I was paranoid or just worn down. Then I got a call, from Carmen again. She came back, she whispered. Where? I asked. To the old building. She was outside last night. Just sitting on the stoop. What did she want? She said she left something behind. But she kept asking about you. I felt something twist in my gut. I drove by the next night. Sure enough, her car was there, parked a block down, like she thought nobody would notice. She wasn't at the building. But she was close. Watching. Waiting. And then I found out why. She wasn't just trying to win the small claims case. She was trying to prove we were still in some kind of relationship. Amanda had started building a new story, that I'd kicked her out because I got jealous of Lucas and tried to control her life. She told mutual friends we'd still been sleeping together. That I got violent. That I was unstable. One of those friends, Mike, a bartender at the brewpub, called me. Said Amanda came in drunk and told the whole table I was a psycho who stalks his exes. I was stunned. But then came the twist I didn't see coming. Lucas reached out. Yeah. Lucas. He found my email. Said he didn't know everything. Said Amanda told him I was her slimy landlord ex, who had a crush on her and let her stay rent-free in exchange for company. He didn't know she was still sleeping in my bed while taking his cash. She told me you were a creep, he wrote. That you used her. I didn't know she was playing both sides. He sent me texts, Amanda begging him to back her in court. Telling him she'd split the payout with him if he testified that I'd been threatening. Said she needed to get even with me or she'd never get closure. I thanked him. Asked if he'd be willing to say that in court. He said yes. Now I had everything. Proof of the scam, the manipulation, the lies. Even her side guy had turned on her. I was done waiting. I filed a countersuit. Not for money. But for defamation. False claims. Damaged reputation. Amanda's entire plan was unraveling. But she didn't back down. She showed up to the court hearing wearing pearls, fake tears already loaded. Said she had nowhere else to go. Told the judge I used her, tricked her into moving in, then tossed her like garbage when she stopped playing house. Then came my turn. I laid it all out. The emails. The texts. Lucas's statements. Ernie's investigation. Even the voicemail she left sobbing, saying I ruined her life after getting caught. The judge didn't even look confused. Just tired. He dismissed her case. Said it was baseless, built on manipulation and hearsay. Warned her any further false filings would result in sanctions. He didn't rule on my countersuit that day, but he said it merited consideration. Amanda walked out of that courtroom red-faced, silent, and shaking. But I knew it wasn't over yet. She wasn't someone who gave up. She was someone who waited for the next crack to crawl through. I thought the courtroom would be the last of her. It should have been. But people like Amanda, they don't just stop. They get desperate. And desperate people do stupid things. 2 weeks after the judge tossed her case, I came home one night and something felt off. Tank was barking like mad the second I stepped out of my truck. He never barked like that. I rushed inside and found the back window cracked open. It was locked that morning. Nothing was stolen, but the box where I kept my lease records had been opened and left sitting on the floor. Someone had been in my house. Amanda didn't take anything. But she wanted me to know she was there. I called the cops. Filed a report. They couldn't prove anything. No fingerprints, no camera footage. Just a broken lock and a weird feeling in my gut that told me this was her way of saying, I'm not done. I wanted to move. Again. But I couldn't afford it. Not after the hit I took fixing up my old place for the sale. And honestly, I was tired of running. She wanted me scared. I wasn't giving her that. So I got serious. I upgraded every lock. Got a camera system. Told my neighbors and the local beat cop to watch for her car. I even put Tank through protection training. He wasn't just a lapdog anymore. Then I went quiet. No texts. No Facebook posts. Nothing. I wanted her to wonder. And it worked. 3 months passed. I didn't hear from her. I started breathing again. Started living. Then one night I got a call. It was Lucas again. I think you should know, he said, Amanda's been living with some guy out in Hastings. Another property owner. He's a widow. Real nice guy. I felt sick. She's trying the same thing again, he added. But, he's my uncle. I didn't say anything. Just listened. Lucas said he hadn't meant to get involved again, but Amanda found him at a bar. Got back into his head. Then moved on to his uncle when she realized Lucas wouldn't play along anymore. Started doing chores for him, cooking, playing the same game she played on me. I thought you deserved to know, he said. I thanked him. Then I made one last call. To Ernie. I told him everything. The new victim. The pattern. Ernie said, we've got enough now. More than enough. With Lucas's help, we built a full report and sent it to the guy she was living with. Along with photos. Statements. Copies of court documents. Proof. 2 days later, she was out on the street again. But this time, it didn't end with her moving on. This time, the old man filed a restraining order. Lucas pressed charges for theft. Amanda had been using his bank info to pay off a payday loan. And I followed through on my defamation suit. Took her to court again. This time, I won. She didn't show. The judge granted everything by default. She owed me $12,500 in damages. I never expected to see a cent of it. But that wasn't the point. It was written in ink now. A permanent mark on her record. And a message to anyone who ever bothered to look her up. Amanda didn't just burn bridges. She set her own damn world on fire, and thought someone else would always clean it up. Well, not this time. And not ever again. I made mistakes too. I let her in. Trusted too fast. Ignored signs. I thought being kind was enough. It wasn't. Lesson learned. Some people don't want help. They want control. They want your home, your money, your peace of mind. And if you let them, they'll take it all, and smile while they do it. But in the end, Amanda learned one final lesson: the house always wins. Especially when it sells the whole damn building out from under you.